Hello, Parrsboro Community Radio listeners. Welcome to Exploring the Neighborhood with your hosts, Thor and Debbie, here on CICR 99.1 on your FM dial. We'd like to thank Kanza as the sponsor for our show.
For those of you who are not aware, Kanza is Cumberland County's only Careers Nova Scotia Centre and a vital participant in this area's road to prosperity. This year, Kanza is celebrating 15 years of serving the area and providing valuable employment and educational opportunities. Our goal for Exploring the Neighborhood is to take you on a series of half-hour adventures that include road trips, candid interviews, and commentaries.
We'll focus on the area's homegrown businesses, unique landmarks, and emerging talent. We're hoping to shine a well-deserved light on the local endeavors that promote eco-friendliness and self-sufficiency. This is one of those shows that bounces around a little bit.
We'll start with my interview with Mr. David Beattie.
On one of our previous episodes, David and Thor discussed his involvement with Parrsboro Creative and the Parrsboro Board of Trade.
If you missed that one, you also missed our discussion about his exciting travels to Antarctica and the existence of Hollow Earth.
For those inquiring minds, you can always chat about Hollow Earth, exotic world travel, and much more by visiting David's spectacular bed and breakfast in Parrsboro.
Together with his wife, Lori Lynch, they own and operate the Gillespie Inn, which is where our interview took place. I would like to know, how did you get here? Where did you come from, David?
Well, that's an interesting story, I guess. Lori and I were both born and raised in Fredericton, and our families were in Fredericton. We lived there for a long while, and about 20 years ago, Lori had this idea that she'd like to have a bed and breakfast. So we started looking around for properties, and a friend of ours who had grown up in Parrsboro said, "My mom tells me there's a house that might be for sale that I think would make a nice bed and breakfast. You should go take a look." And we took a look, and Lori came first and really loved it. She brought me down, and I looked around. I thought, this is a nice house. It's a nice property. And don't really know a lot about Parrsboro, but it's an interesting place, a nice location on the Bay of Fundy. We both loved the Bay of Fundy. That was actually one of our criteria when we began looking, was to be on the Bay of Fundy. So the pieces just kind of fell into place. We made an offer to the lady who owned the house at the time, and she accepted our offer. And 6 weeks later, we owned the building, and 3 weeks after that, we had our first guest. Didn't know a thing about innkeeping. It's been a steep learning curve, but been at it for 20 years now, so we're getting fairly comfortable with the business side of the bed and breakfast.
Kind of like the Newhart show, right?
A little bit, or something like Faulty Towers in some ways, but we've done a lot of work over the years with the property. A house had been fixed up a bit by previous owners and was in solid shape, but needed a lot of renovation work to get it to where we wanted it and where it is today. So when we started, it was a house with 5 bedrooms and 1 bathroom, and now we have 7 guest rooms, all with private baths. And we've rebuilt the carriage house and put a meeting room in there, a yoga studio. Every year we just try to keep adding to the business a little bit and make a more complete experience for our guests.
Do you have regular customers that come all the time, or?
We have a lot of repeat customers. A lot of our repeat customers are people that come up to Parrsboro every summer. Many of them come to Ship's Company Theatre and make a weekend or an overnight of it, so they'll come have dinner in town, spend the night. People from away, from time to time, we'll get people that were here, 5, 6, 10 years ago that come back. We had a couple just from Italy here about 2 years ago. They'd been here on their honeymoon, and 10 years later they came back because they wanted to have their 10th anniversary in the same place they'd come to for their honeymoon. So that was kind of fun.
It's an absolutely beautiful place. If you haven't stayed here, I think you should. It's an amazing place. I mean, even for people from Amherst, why don't you give your wife a special night off or weekend and come here? It's great. As you mentioned, there's a lot of artistic things going on constantly. Ship's Theatre Company, everything from paintings, music to fossils. It's all here. Where your clients mostly come from?
Well, interestingly enough, the majority, probably almost half of our guests are Maritimers. People that I say are coming for the theater, coming for visiting friends and family, just traveling, making a stay vacation, if you will, but largely from Nova Scotia, many from New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, a few from Newfoundland. So that's about half of our guests each year. And then the others, a good percentage comes from the US, probably about 10% from Europe, and the balance are Western Canada or just random people internationally. But there's people here from all over the world every summer.
I'm surprised that you didn't mention Ontario. When I talk to everyone in Ontario, where they go for the summers, it's always Nova Scotia.
One of the things about a lot of the people that come from Ontario is they're coming home to visit family, and so they don't necessarily stay at inns or hotels. They go and they visit family. So a lot of people from Ontario come, but in terms of our business at least, it's a relatively small percentage of our total guests.
So they miss all the good stuff.
Well, I don't know. There's still some pretty good stuff out there if you just enjoy the seaside and the beaches and the cliffs and the waterfalls that we have in the area. So I couldn't say that, but yeah, there's a couple of nice inns in town that certainly people do seem to enjoy.
Where did you get your funding to start this place?
Well, most of it's our own money. I've worked in the engineering business for 37 years before retiring. In fact, I continued to work my engineering career for the first 15 years or so that we had the inn. So Lori was really looking after the inn mostly on her own, and I was working. We also were able to get some business loans through ACOA. There was no free money available, but they did have favorable payment plans so that we were able to get a bit of assistance when we did our renovation and expansion through ACOA.
It always helps. The expansion and the renovation, this is a big place. This is not a small place. You can't do it just on a $50 a week.
Well, one of the things we really paid a lot of attention to, I guess, was to try to make sure that all the new construction was matched the existing original construction. So all the moldings were custom run. New gables was designed to match the existing gables. The floors were all put down. Not obviously you can tell the difference between new hardwood and old hardwood, but they're all hardwood to be consistent with what was in the house when we arrived.
As someone who owns a couple of 100-year-old houses now, the old molding, you just can't go to Home Hardware and buy it. Just don't have it anymore. So it is a big deal to keep things the way they were.
The interesting thing, though, if you really start digging into it, it's not that difficult to find people who can make you a custom run piece of molding. And if you're doing enough of it, the actual cost isn't that much greater. But if you wanted one or two pieces, it's quite pricey.
How do you get to your clients?
Well, when we originally started, of course, it was a lot of print advertising. So there'd be rack cards and all the tourist information centers. And that was really one of the main vehicles. But today it's mostly through the internet. So we have our own website, of course. We are listed with Nova Scotia Tourism, Central Nova Scotia Tourism Association, Bay of Fundy, Tourism Partnership. We also actually use some service like Booking.com as well, which is a very strong marketing tool. A little expensive, but very strong.
My wife, when she had her hair salon, she used to use a similar service to that, and she said it saved her a lot of trouble, and it was very helpful.
Well, these big companies like Booking.com, Expedia, Priceline, Hotels.com, they have huge marketing budgets, and they spend way more than any small business can spend. So whenever you do a search, you just put in a Google search, say for Gillespie House Inn, their ad will come up ahead of our own listing because they make sure it does by putting enough effort into making that happen.
Given a choice of quality inns in an area, I would definitely go to them. They do have a good range, and they'll show you pictures, price comparisons, everything.
That's right.
For the travelers, they're a wonderful thing.
They are. Like I say, the property owners pay pretty dearly to be listed there, though. So we always prefer that people contact us directly because it gives us, too, a chance to have more communication with the potential guests to make sure that we are what they're looking for and that we can also suggest other things that they might do in the area. So it's more personal when they contact us directly. When they contact us through a booking agency like that, it's all online. It's very impersonal, but it's very effective also.
Tell me, David, why would I take my wife here?
Well, I think that's a very personal choice, of course, but what we pride ourselves in is providing very personal service for our guests. My wife or I are here every day the inn is open. One of us at least is here to talk directly with our guests. We are very accommodating when it comes to their breakfast, of what we serve at breakfast. If people have gluten intolerance or lactose intolerance, then we can accommodate that. We've made our inn as pet friendly. If people are traveling with their dogs are welcome. Obviously, we have it as somewhat of control as well, so the dogs maybe don't bother other guests who aren't quite as dog friendly as we are, but we have 2 dogs ourselves, so we love doing that. A couple of years ago, we won the Crystal Award from Tourism Nova Scotia for environmental sustainability. We work very hard at trying to protect the environment. We compost all our organic waste here on site. We use only our compost for fertilizers in our gardens. We use environmental friendly cleaning products and laundry products. We've changed all the light bulbs to mostly all to LEDs or compact fluorescents. We're always looking for what's the next thing that we can do to be more energy efficient. We've installed solar panels a few years ago. So that's one of the things that we like to put a focus on. I think really it's environmental sustainability and good service to our customers, and provide them with a quality bed and a quality breakfast. Since we're a bed and breakfast, we say that those are 2 things that we should try to do well.
So you do serve breakfast here?
We do, yeah.
Maybe not lunch and supper, but they can count on breakfast.
That's right. That's right.
Just out of curiosity, what's your season?
Our official season, when we're open all the time, is May 1st to October 31st, but we're also open by reservation almost any time of the year. Sometimes through the winter we take a little vacation, so we may not be here, but when we're here, if somebody's looking for a room, we're most happy to accommodate them, but we do like advance reservations during the off season so that we can be sure we're ready for them.
And are there price breaks for certain times of the season, or are your prices uniform throughout?
Well, we do have shoulder season pricing, so our pricing through the summer is probably 15 to 20% higher than our pricing in the shoulder seasons. So there is a chance to get a break there. And we also offer a seniors discount.
And do you have more affordable rooms than others, or they're all the same standard?
There's a small range. There's a range sort of $10 difference between our superior rooms and our standard rooms, I guess. So we have about 3 rooms that are a little bit larger, a little bit more elaborate washrooms in them, and so we charge a little bit more for those than the other rooms.
The last question I have regarding the Gillespie House in particular is, who's Abby and Piper?
Oh, Abby and Piper, they're our dogs, and they're friendly dogs. Abby is a golden retriever, and Piper is a black Labrador retriever, and they just love greeting our guests, running up and wiggling their tails and saying hi. And oftentimes you'll see a guest coming into our kitchen and getting right down on the floor and patting the dogs, and they're most welcome to do that. The dogs love it.
Super.
So, what have we been up to?
Well, we've been producing a lot of videos. We've been working on Canada's 15-year anniversary DVD.
And remembering Canada's heroes from World War II. And we're also preparing to film at the Spring Hill Legion.
And of course, we've been working on our radio shows, including The Songwriter's Heart, which you'll hear every week here. And also this one here, which is called Exploring the Neighbourhood.
We did go to the Seed Exchange in Amherst.
And one of my favorite things is I've been hanging out at the Groove Factory. I've been recording Brodie McKay with engineer Chris Thomas. And after we get done with Brodie's fabulous song, we're going to be working with Jim Brown.
What exactly is our business?
What is our business? Well, we're Scotia Heritage Productions, and you call us when it's time to tell your story with a video will. Our videos allow you to take care of your estate for your loved ones. You can explain your last will and testament in your own words, tell your unique stories, the places and the adventures, and describe your place in history for future generations.
And articulate the reasons for your final decisions.
And we also do various videos for different corporations and businesses around the area.
Promote your business with us.
We're currently working, of course, as we mentioned before, with CANZA. We're working with an organization called Remembering Canada's Heroes. And we're about to start another series of podcasts with a educator and estate planner from Halifax.
Enough about us. Let's talk about one of the key focuses of this show, the value of our local economy.
Let's do that.
What else have we been doing?
Well, here in Spring Hill, we get together almost every other week with a bunch of neighborhood friends, and we talk about things like local artists, hidden treasures, one-of-a-kind landmarks, business opportunities, and the economy. And we've got a number of key concerns.
The closing of several businesses, the closing of Dale's, River Hibbert Co-op, and boy, there's dozens of other examples.
One of the topics that comes up a lot is losing the next generation to places far and wide in the rest of Canada and the US. And yet, the opportunities are here for both the younger people and the older residents. There's a long list of future potential within Cumberland Westmoreland, but kind of starts with the spending habits. One of the most important changes is how you spend your money locally.
You'll still need to shop at the superstores for technology, automobile, or some household items. But start shopping for the things that matter, that are produced locally.
Good idea. Spending money is simple. Debbie, you know all about it. But I'm talking about eating healthier by taking advantage of many of the organic farms in the area. Don't know where they are? Just look up Cumberland Food Action Network. It's a local organization that ties together all the people that grow food locally. Or just go to any one of the farmers markets in the area, or even go to Moncton.
Yep, and you can treat yourself to one of the amazing bed and breakfasts or great local restaurants and bistros.
They are good.
Yep, and if you don't know where they are, just contact us. We have a list.
You can get some fresh lobster from Chase's Lobster. And for those that don't like eating healthy, I know you're out there. All I can say is stock up on Donkin's Maple Cream, or visit our local gas station in Spring Hill and gorge on the most decadent baked goods this side of the Pecos.
Visit your local artists. Check out Parrsboro, the Amherst Artist Shop at the Sobey Mall. See a show at the Oxford Theatre, or attend one of the Kansas-sponsored events.
And don't forget all the pancake houses and maple sugar shacks every spring.
The list of choices goes on and on.
I can hear those hecklers in the back balcony saying, "Talk is cheap. Where do you two spend your money?" Debbie, you would know.
That small grocery store in Amherst, Donald Duncan Maple Cream.
Oh, that's so good.
Plus, the artist community, Sobey's Mall in Amherst.
They do have things besides sweets there, you know. We're going to have to get one of those carvings soon.
Yes, a wood carving.
Then, in summer, we get all of our vegetables and the hops for my beer from Wismical Farms. Next year, we're going to also try some stuff from Broadfork Farms because they have awesome stuff.
Yes, and we always get our grass-fed beef from Frank of Linden Leaf Farms.
And that's right by the Pharmasave in Amherst. And we also got all of our business designs, including business cards, our rack cards, the poster, and the street sign from Larry Hunter Design in Spring Hill. Plus, we did advertise on both CFTA FM and CICR FM in Parrsboro.
The coffee news for print ads.
And we went to the Wild Caraway in Advocate Harbor for your birthday.
Yes, and I think you should take me back.
I will.
Yes, and next, we're headed to the Black Rock Bistro in Parrsboro as soon as it opens for the season.
Oh, yeah. And I love my Eggs Benedict, and they make it just right at Breakfast at Brittany's in Amherst. And don't forget, we love the fish and chips at Margie's Restaurant in Joggins.
And we cannot go without the Dutchman's cheese, Chase's Lobster and Port Howe. And aside from food, don't forget all those thrift shops and consignment stores.
That's where all our money goes. I get my car repaired at Deegan's Auto Pit, Plus, don't forget all the guys that we hire for all the plumbing, heating, and roofing construction issues that we have because we bought old houses.
100-year-old house in Joggins. Fixer-upper.
So you ask, what dollar amount is required to contribute to this local economy?
Every dollar spent locally supports your community. It's as simple as that.
And if I don't? Because it's always cheaper at those superstores.
Is it really cheaper? Have we factored in the local job losses? Cost in our health by eating processed foods and how long cheaper products really last?
You got a point there.
I know, you're still not sure. I hear those voices saying, that's just you. I can't picture that working in real life.
So how does this shop local stuff work in practice?
Well, let's find out as soon as we end the episode with another interview with Mr. David Beattie.
This one's all about food. Great food. Local produce and amazing organic cuisine.
They must be the busiest couple in Parrsboro. Together with his wife Lori Lynch, David also owns and operates the Black Rock Bistro in Parrsboro.
And we're going to be heading there as soon as it opens for the season. I've heard a lot of good things about the Black Rock Bistro. Could you tell us about it? Where is it? When is it open?
The Black Rock Bistro is just on Main Street in Parrsboro. And we're open basically from May through to end of October with weekend events from time to time throughout the rest of the year. We advertise those weekend events on our Facebook page and our website. We started the restaurant back in 2013. I still remember the day we opened. It was July 18th, 2013. We're supposed to open on the 17th. My chef's car broke down in Halifax. He didn't get back in time, so I can remember the date really well.
That must have been a fun time.
It was a little tense, but people were very understanding, and people in the community have been quite supportive of what we're trying to do. The reason we started the bistro is that there had been a bistro called the Bare Bones Bistro, and Bare Bones Bistro did a very nice meal, and we were very happy that they were here, but Glenn came to a situation where he had to close the business, and so we were looking at no bistro-style restaurant in town. And a group of us got together and felt it was nice to have a place like that. And of course, with our in-business and a lot of our guests from away enjoyed something. The local restaurants were good as well, there's no question, but it was a different style of meal. And what we were trying to offer then is something that's a little bit more upscale dining. And so that's why we took the plunge and decided to open a restaurant with absolutely no experience in restauranting at all, just like when we opened the inn years before.
It's a trend. Okay, leave it to David and Lori to do something they've never done before.
Why not?
It's a great way to do it. And honestly, I've worked for some big companies, and believe it or not, that's how they do it. They just jump in and they make the sale, and then they go, so how are we going to build this thing? Very similar with a restaurant, I take it.
It was, yes. One of the things we've been very fortunate, though, is that we've been able to find very good staff right here in the area. So we have a really great core of people that we work with, and several of them have been with us right from day one, and we feel really pleased about that.
So tell me, I'm starting to get hungry. What's on the menu generally?
Well, the menu changes. It changes year by year, and it changes season by season. So there's a few things that you can be sure of. There's always scallops on the menu. Pretty much always haddock or flounder, the fish that are caught just off the shore here. Lobster in different forms, depending on what we're doing in a certain day. But one of the things that's proved very popular at lunchtimes are lobster paninis. We do a fish taco. And just soups and chowder, always a nice fish chowder. For dinner, we try to feature different things, so we make our own pasta. And so there's generally always a fresh pasta on the menu, but what it is will change day by day. Oftentimes we get a little more exotic and we'll bring in some wild boar or some venison or Cornish hens or something to have some fun with.
Call me on those days.
Well, they do seem to be very popular, yes. But we also do, somewhat like roast beef or a steak, chicken supreme. So the menu is always varying and always changing. What we're trying to do more and more is to really get a sense of what people want. Say we were new to the business and we've been learning, and trying to make sure that we keep a few things that are kind of foodie-ish and a little bit more exotic, but also a core menu that could appeal to anybody and everybody.
I will definitely be there, because when you're talking boar, venison, that's what the restaurants in Europe serve that for the most part you just don't get here.
Well, we found a Nova Scotia supplier. These meats are produced right here in Nova Scotia, which is nice. In fact, most of the things that we serve at the bistro are produced in Nova Scotia. We also serve a lot of Nova Scotian wines and Nova Scotian beers to complement our menu.
Excellent. So you really, really promote the local economy.
Well, we have to. We have to work together to make our economy solid and so that we continue to exist. The more we buy from away, the less money there is to go around in Nova Scotia.
So you echo the theme of my show. I love it. I have a true converted person who owns businesses in the area. Love it. As I mentioned before, one of his suppliers for organic foods is our friends Brian and Shannon from the Broad Fork Farm, and we know their stuff is good.
That's actually one of my favorite days. Once a week I take a drive over there and get another load of nice fresh produce, choosing from what they have available at the time, and then we make our menu to suit what's available.
Incredible. And you'll definitely have 2 new customers. My wife and I are coming down.
Looking forward to it.
I recommend all people in Cumberland, Westmoreland to come on down and try this restaurant. You can go to the fast food restaurants anytime, but this is a chance for you to enjoy true Nova Scotian, local produced food. From the fish to the game to the vegetables, come on down and enjoy what Nova Scotia has to offer.
Okay, time has run out. If you'd like to contact us, our email is scotiaheritageproductions@gmail.com.
When it comes to local business, arts, crafts, and entertainment, we'll try our best to provide a global perspective on our community and remind listeners that where one regularly chooses to spend their money is often much more powerful than the occasional vote at the ballot box.
So, help out your talented neighbors and enjoy the unique diversity of what Cumberland, Westmoreland has to offer. And ultimately, you'll be helping yourself. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.
So, tune in next week for another episode of Exploring the Neighborhood with your hosts, Thor and Debbie, here on CICR 99.1 on your FM dial.